Good afternoon, East Hampton. It's such an honor to be able to do our second show here at LTV out in the Hamptons. And it's even a bigger honor to have my first guest, Mr. Tom House, who we had on last week, except last week he was in Colombia trying to get his brother John home, and they were successful at that. We're going to get into that and also recap the amazing Pride Parade event here in East Hampton, the second annual. And then we're going to have a special treat for you. We're having our fabulous diva guest, Inda Eaton, coming on a little bit later. But right now, Tom House, welcome. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me back again.
You're welcome.
I'm the first guest again.
You are. You're like my co-host for out in the Hamptons. How are you doing? It's been a busy week.
Yeah. I'm, catching up on sleep. I'm just so happy.
It's been a whirlwind.
No, but I'm just so happy the parade went off so well.
First things first, how's John doing?
He's expected to have a full recovery, so
awesome.
That's come quite a way.
That's
from
amazing.
What it could have been.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
And so with that happening at the same time, you are the executive producer of the second annual Pride Parade and actually the innovator of it as well. So it's the second year. And how did it go? Well, you were there taking pictures.
I was there. No, I mean, it was a question of whether I could get back. I took a red eye Wednesday night into Thursday morning, landed in JFK Thursday morning, met with the wonderful East Hampton Village Police to do the walkthrough in the park and get everything set up. And anyway, and this is the first Pride Parade that I was ever in.
Oh, you got to participate?
Yes.
Yeah, because last year I
didn't walk. Yeah.
So what was your position? Were you on the float? Were you walking?
I was up front. I had the
Grand Marshal.
One of the things we need to work on for the parade is we need to attract more bands.
Right,
for the third annual, which is June 1st, 2024, third annual.
Mark your calendars, folks.
Yeah, it's first Saturday in June, we're annual. Thank you, Mayor Larson. We need more bands. We need bands. We don't have bands. We have people playing loud music. We had a couple of performances. Our fabulous variety show did a nice performance. Other people were, playing music from their cars, but in fear of having a silent parade last year, we just bought this 120-degree, really, really powerful Bluetooth speaker, and I just have Pride tunes downloaded from Spotify, and we just blast them. So it looks like a little suitcase that you wheel around, but it makes the sidewalk vibrate. So
so you heard it. You heard it, folks. An open call for bands. Like what kind of bands? Anything?
Good bands, good
musical
bands that can walk. We did have, and it was a real treat, and I heard nothing but raves about it. We had the Bridgehampton School Marimba Band at the park, right? So they were greeting people at Parade's End, right there at Marimba before they got in, and we had Karen Ward DJing.
Right, Karen. Shout out to Karen Ward, second time DJing, second time around.
Used to work at Swamp with us.
Yes, yes. Hey, that sounds wonderful. That's right, folks. So at the end of the parade, you have a party at the Herrick Park. So it's really an organic, wonderful East Hampton Village event. It brings everyone together. I mean, it's such a plus for everyone. Everyone wins in this. And we talked about this last year. Last week, Mayor Larson mentioned that the inspiration for the Pride Parade comes out of actually something very tragic.
Yeah.
And just to iterate, you're a teacher.
Yes.
Is there like a suicide prevention program that you would recommend in East Hampton if anyone was feeling depressed or needed some support, maybe?
That's a lot of questions, but
sorry.
No, it's okay. But I mean, the best way to prevent suicide is to deal with depression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The suicide is often what happens when people are severely depressed and they don't get the help they need, right? That can be the end result. They don't have the support they need. So what Jerry Larson's idea when he called us to, was like, what can we do? There had been a series of teen suicides at East Hampton High School. That was the tragic seed for the parade.
Yeah.
He was talking to a mutual friend of ours, like, what can we do to help these kids? And she rightly said, that there's never been a pride parade in the Hamptons. Like in the history of the Hamptons, there's never been a pride parade. And wouldn't that be a good place to start, like a big community show of support
Yes.
for LGBTQ plus, you know, and not even just support, but an embrace. Like, look how much we want you here. You know, we're going to close Main Street.
That's the most
Walk
important
down.
message.
Right.
I mean, when I was in high school, I was repressed and I wasn't out.
Right.
And I graduated from East Hampton High School. Man, that would have been helpful back then,
It would've.
you know? So that's, it's such, from tragedy was born such a beautiful day for folks to connect and feel supported. And I mean, geez, thumbs up East Hampton, you got it going on.
You know, East Hampton Village, they really came through.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, and Mayor Larson made it an annual event for Saturday of June. But you know, like part of you know, the speeches were very short this year, and but there was a serious element to it. You know, it
Yeah.
is a joy fest, and everyone loved it. You know, but there are kids that are afraid to walk down the street. You know, with us. I used to be afraid to walk down the street. Like I'd never been in a pride parade till last Saturday.
Ditto.
You know, part of it was that they're scary, you know, to a certain extent. There are social repercussions. The kids aren't out to their family, so how are they going to walk down Main Street? You know what I mean? What's going to happen at school when they go back? Some of it, we're hoping that some of it is perceived homophobia, that maybe, or transphobia, that maybe isn't there as much as they think, you know, or there's more support than these kids realize.
I think you're right. I mean, I think when folks see the whole community and the whole town and coming out together for the day, that it, you know, makes it more of a human experience. It's not such like a phobia thing that you have to really get all worked up about. You know, people are people, and you know, a big show of force. The bigots will take a step back. It's like, well, maybe I can't be so vocal. You know, there's a lot of defense here. You know, that can school people that need to be educated. You know, that this isn't a marginalized group here. Yeah, not here in East. I love it. And you brought like tokens from last week, these wonderful flags, and you're wearing your Pride T-shirt. I love it. It's
full regalia.
it's a whole thing. If anyone wants what is those stickers? Bumper stickers. Walk out today with a bumper sticker right here out in the Hamptons. You have something you want to promote as well. There's another event coming up.
I mean, what we really want people to know is that we are an all-volunteer public charity.
Yes.
The parade is free. There will never be a registration fee.
Awesome.
We don't block anyone away. It doesn't cost $100 to drive your car in the parade. It's free. So all you have to do is go to the website, hamptonspride.org, and register.
Yes, and it's never too early.
Well, actually, it is. I don't have the registration up yet for next year, but June 1st, just please mark it down, but maybe I will put it up. I just figure if people register now, they're going to forget. You know?
You might,
so I might just start in January with the registration.
And they need bands, folks, just to reiterate, bands.
But just to reiterate, this is a service of Hamptons Pride. It will always be free. And there's not a lot of parades that do that. We are all volunteer. No one's getting paid to do this. So we raise money and we put on a parade. And as you know, we're creating an outdoor social area in Wainscott Green. We're on the footprint of the swamp. That's one of our founding goals.
Nice.
Hopefully the LGBTQ plus community has something really beautiful to look forward to, a place to gather, right in the same spot where the swamp used to be for a generation.
Awesome. You're doing a great job.
Okay, yeah. No,
what are we promoting?
The event is Hamptons Pride Sunday at Longhouse. We had this last year. It was a beautiful event. This is a fundraiser. Okay. Right? The parade is free. This is a fundraiser. So
and it's coming right up June 25th.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from yesterday.
How do folks get involved?
Well, we need volunteers. We need some people to help work it.
Should they call you direct?
That hamptonspride@gmail.com.
Okay.
Get in touch with us. We need some help with parking, things like that.
Do you need any bands for this one?
We have live jazz.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and Wolfer is donating Summer in a Bottle.
Even better.
There's Springs Brewery is giving us some of their beer. We'll have soft drinks, and we'll have really good food from a colleague and professional caterer, Natalie Nichols. So it was a really nice event last year.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's it's the Pride Sunday. It's the day of the parade in New York City. So those people that don't want to go all the way into the city, we have a satellite celebration here to mark Sunday Pride.
Yes, folks, believe it or not, the whole month of June is Pride Month. Pride parades everywhere, and it's a good thing. Thanks, Tom, so much for recapping last week's such a successful event.
Thank you.
Bigger, better next year, folks, making history in the Hamptons. All right now it is an honor that I was able to ask this wonderful recording artist to come, and she accepted. Can we get a nice round of applause, please, for Miss Inda Eaton?
See those dead yellow roses.
Good to see you. Welcome. How are you?
Well, I'm in a good space, and I'm listening and catching up with Tom here. I'm glad about your brother.
Thank
Yeah.
you so
Yeah,
much.
I can't believe you made it back in time for the parade.
That
Yeah.
was quite an accomplishment in
It was
itself.
lucky, the little Dalmatian. I carried him from my class here.
No,
Lucky.
you had the weight of the
No,
whole community.
thank
It was
you. No, it
beautiful.
was,
Yeah.
and thank you for your comments online. It
Oh.
was really,
Yeah.
really helpful.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
Well, I want to jump in the conversation right away. But
Yeah.
I
What
love the parade. I love the parade. I
were
missed
you
it.
able to participate at all?
Not this year.
No.
I had
Oh.
Nancy Atlas and I
That's-
had a
mhm.
show scheduled for the Friday before,
Yes.
and so I thought we're in the clear. And then they moved our show date to Saturday,
Ooh.
and it's just not possible to go to a parade
Yeah.
and
Screaming
keep your mouth.
alongside.
Well, I mean, I could never go to a parade and be like,
Thank you.
Yeah.
never could. So this year we sent Ellen to represent. Ellen Diaguardi represented.
She's the best,
She
yeah.
is the best.
Shout out to Ellen.
I felt horrible to miss it though.
Yeah.
The first year it was.
June 1st.
Well, we're on it.
2024.
Well, I thought
Stevens
we were in the
Longhouse,
clear.
no shows.
I feel like
that
Inda, you
day.
should have your own flatbed float. You know?
I wrote in it. At first, I heard what you were saying about, your first parade. The first Pride
Yeah.
parade I ever went to was the one last year.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah, we rode in a dune buggy.
Cool. Yeah,
Nice.
Great pictures.
It was a
Yeah.
last minute situation, so we had no rainbows. And we rode with Rob King. He has a dune buggy, and
Yeah.
he had the American flag because he's with the fire department.
Oh, nice.
And
Mhm.
we had a moment of like, well, do we fly this? And I thought, well, hell yeah, it's the American flag, and that works perfectly. And
Yeah.
so we were the ones without the rainbows.
What color was the buggy?
Well, I think it was a red deal, but the point is, only in our country can this happen.
Yeah.
And it was one of those hell freezes over moments for East Hampton Village, because who
Yeah.
thought this would ever happen?
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Oh.
Yeah, but then again, learning where it was created from, where that came from. I mean, that linear is just a beautiful, blossoming. I mean, it's just really it moved me deeply, I must say. So, I want to talk a little bit about you.
Yes.
You just did a successful show at the Talk House with Nancy Atlas, as you just mentioned. Was that like a full band experience for the audience, or?
Nancy Atlas and I do a collaboration at least once a year, but really once a year. She has her band, and they're playing all the time. And I have different projects that I work with. So this was an opportunity. I think we missed the last couple of years. It was great. It was sold out. It was packed wall to wall. And it wasn't a typical configuration for either one of us. We shared resources. And it was done in a blink of an eye. And I don't think I still haven't caught up to how beautiful it was. Yeah.
I saw you two together at Bay Street.
Right. She had,
were
I was a
great.
guest. She did
Yeah.
she was doing her fireside sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she'll jump on stage with me. We both do that. But to have our own show together, that doesn't happen very often.
No,
I'm sorry I missed
it's a
that.
special experience.
Well, it's special, and that's born out. We've actually been at, before the rapture, before the pandemic kicked in, we would join forces. We'd go out to Wyoming and do tours, and that's beautiful. And so we wanted to make more of that, and then we all shut down. So
Right.
here we are.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
And I caught you at a show a couple years ago, solo, at the Talk House. That was a great event. So you and your band perform all over as well.
We perform pretty much anywhere we can go. The last 3 years have been, like everybody, a big question mark.
Yes.
So sometimes it's a band, sometimes it's a full band trio, and right now I'm working on a one-woman show. That's not just a solo show, it's a one-woman show, meaning my wife's been on me for years to do this. I would call it more of a written show, not that I ever follow any written directions, but a little more thematic. my wife loves, very highly inspired by the Lily Tomlin, Search for Intelligent Signs in the Universe,
yeah.
where she played all the characters. I don't know if there's characters for me to play, but, getting out there and seeing Hannah Gadsby and the work she did, I think it's been an inspiration to say, hell, let's go out there and do a one-woman show.
I love it.
It's
Can't wait. So you've been described as a songwriter, singer-songwriter and storyteller, but maybe also a fortune future teller, because your last album here, Shelter in Place, was 2018, just before the pandemic hit. How did you know? Was that just coincidence? Shelter in Place. We all had
Wow.
Well, I think it's
Prescient.
prescient. I think it's a coincidence that the last show in our town was called Shelter in Place, which was a derivative of that at Bay Street. But I think it is a bit tied in. I got the idea. I was on a road trip right after the election, the 2016 election, putting together some thoughts on the next project.
Oh, yes.
Saw all these yard signs out there in America for elections, when historically I think everybody takes their yard signs down like the next day. But still in America, months later, it was on. And I'm looking around, we drove from here to California and back.
Wow.
They never came down. The energy was very vitriolic. And I thought to myself, we're all just hunkering down. We're just sheltering in place. Didn't matter how you thought. We were just sheltering in place, waiting for something. And that's where I got the idea.
I love it. One of my favorite. Well, there's 11 tracks, folks, so go out and explore. If you haven't heard it, go to any major distribution site. I downloaded a couple tracks from iTunes, so you can do that.
Aw.
Yeah.
By the way, you look very festive. I walked in, no,
Right.
seriously, at the time, I want to, for the folks at home or whatever camera I'm talking into, I thought it was just going to be a podcast, so I come
Just
in here all
casual.
disheveled. No, I look like I'm out looking for change on the beach.
That
You're-
hair, the
Yeah.
volume.
You're
is
very
just
good to
amazing.
shovel.
Who knew? No, well, and you've got the beautiful costume for the Pride Parade, but so
Yes.
I want to, you're both handsome gentlemen, and I just
Oh,
love
thank you.
the bow tie and tying it all together.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Geez, oh my God, what do I say? Thank you.
No, it's just darling, and I'm glad to be here.
Accept that compliment.
I'm having the best time of my life having two wonderful
so
guests
sweet.
here on our
Love that.
second episode.
And just to be clear, what are we called? What's the show called?
Out in the Hamptons. Get it
Out in-
Yeah.
Well, I figured,
Yeah.
I show up in the
Yeah.
parking lot. I see you in the parking lot. I didn't get it right away. Then you come out with the rainbow
Right,
bow
put it
tie. And I
more
thought,
out.
oh, the gays. So so it's called Out in the Hamptons.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
And
I love it.
I'm your host, Michael Jeffries. That's my middle name.
Michael Jeffrey.
My last name is crazy to
Cerchiai.
So Michael
Yeah.
Jeffrey and Out in the
Pronounced it
Hamptons.
wrong?
Yes.
And
Yes,
we're on the first.
second.
Okay.
And getting back to your 2018 album, I listened
Yeah.
to well, there's many tracks that are awesome, but one of my favorites is Dead Yellow Roses.
Okay.
Dead Yellow Roses. Great title, but upon listening to it a couple of times, I mean, you're invited into the story, and it sounds like, and maybe we can talk about this a little bit, that it comes from a place of pain.
Well, Dead Yellow Roses in a Place of Pain. I think somebody recently told me that I was intense, and that
In a good way.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's always a great one in a good way. I don't think I have many songs that are, who let the dogs out type of energy. And Mike and I've talked a little bit about this because Mike's a DJ. I never saw my songs as a big old, whoop whoop party songs.
Club dance.
No, but you're going to make them into
Yes,
that.
I've been kind of nagging you for 2 years.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do
We're
a
gonna
dance
do
number.
it. So you bring up Dead Yellow Roses. It is serious. There's some humor in there. And I think if I look at all the work that I've done, I think, yes, these places are mined from a place of obstacles, let's call it. I don't know if it's pain. I think that there's resilience in the tracks. And I think there ends up being hope. And
Absolutely.
there's no doubt that it's intense, though.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that song sounds like it comes from, well, everyone who listens is going to have their own interpretation, and that's what's great about art. It touches each of us in its own way. For me, I imagine a relationship that broke up or ended, and the flowers represent the death of the relationship, and this, that, and the other. Am I close?
Absolutely. I think that's one part of it. And the other thing, I think if you tour with a band long enough and over the years, the songs write themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm taking from my childhood, I'm taking from my own life, and I have boys in the band that keep me on my toes all the time. And so all you had to do is take all these people, and it was like, and actually, if we're on that song, some years ago before that album, Nancy Atlas is over, the boys in the band are over. We're having Chinese food, we got takeout, and there are these dead yellow roses on the kitchen table. And that alone tells a story. And you know, roses shellac well. Like they either die right away, or rose is like, wow, it's like a monument. And I think Anne-Marie and I had been in a fight, and Anne-Marie went to IGA and picked him up. And you know that if you get grocery store roses, it's that itself is a song, right?
Grocery store roses?
Well, because you're desperate and you go to the
Also
IGA.
good.
Tom, nobody goes to the IGA on purpose to buy flowers. It's like, oh God, I'll get them and I'll take them home. And it's
Here's
like,
your flowers.
well, I think it
Don't
was
say the last
maybe
word.
a little more loving.
Yeah. Shout out to Anne Marie, your wife.
My wife.
And I say I agree with you, more loving, because I
Well,
met
no,
her.
and we laughed about it, and I think when we
That's
left
funny.
that day, Nancy said, "You either write that song or I will," and I thought, "It's on, I'm writing it."
That's sweet.
And so the next morning, I was like, "That's what it is,"
Oh, I
And
see.
shellacked forever in song.
and they are.
Well, in lieu of that song,
Living
Living
Beautiful.
that could be a song for next year. Living
Take
Yellow
roses.
Roses.
Oh, thank
we
you.
won't
two.
share.
Thank you.
Here, let's
It was
Oh,
quite
sorry.
some fun.
We are out in the Hamptons.
Just sit that flag in
To see
there.
those days.
I love that. Look at that.
Let's keep talking about your music. So it sounds like each song written from a collective of experiences that you go through. Are you the writer of all your music?
I am the writer of the music. I don't think they're all, one line autobiographical or biographical straight. I'm begging and borrowing, and I think I'm doing what every artist does. And you're taking a bit of here, a bit of there, and you're organizing the mosaics, and it comes out.
Yeah.
And I think the different thing about songwriting versus straight up, well, there's so many ways to straight up write, so many different genres. I think the way songs have a different way of telling a story because you always have that music, you always have that rhythm, you always have that tone. So maybe there's something that you can't finish in a word, that the rhythm and the tone just tells the story for you, and you, in a way, don't even have to know what I might have meant.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a little different. So I think there's much more emotional context that is given without even giving it. It is. And I think we all know that. I listen to songs from even my childhood, you put that on the radio, and it's like you feel something, but you don't know what the hell they're saying.
Oh,
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Never.
Or you
bring
think
your own
they're
emotion
saying
to it.
something.
It is.
Yeah.
And
Something you don't.
anything, at a young age, you listen to classical music or some other kind of genre, you already know.
Right.
You know it's a party or a dirge or something.
Yeah.
You just know.
It took me I was in my 40s to understand what Fleetwood Mac Dreams was about, for example. I've been hearing that song all my
Right.
life, and it's such a melodic, beautiful song, and I'm like, what is
Now, is that a gay male thing? Because I love Fleetwood Mac. Is that? But
Probably not. Is
somebody.
it? Well, let's ask Tom.
Well, there's stereotypes.
I know. It's just a universal,
you're the go-to.
universally beloved.
Because is it a Stevie Nicks thing? That the people,
I love Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's a gay icon. I think she's a universal icon.
I love Stevie Nicks.
Is
love
she one of
Stevie
your
Nicks.
inspirations?
Fleetwood Mac in total. I think that's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Obviously, she has a huge solo career, and I love her work. But Fleetwood Mac, the harmony,
Yeah.
Lindsey Buckingham on guitar,
Amazing.
the
yeah.
energy, the words. I don't know. I love Fleetwood Mac.
I mean, it's like it doesn't get. That's the epitome of like.
We'll have
Perfect.
to ask though people if that's a
Yeah.
gay thing. Because I mean, look,
It's a
I'm
straight thing too.
okay.
I think-
Allies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Tom, who would you say is a gay iconic singer other
Oh,
than
gosh.
Lady Gaga, of course?
Oh,
but,
please don't ask me that.
you
Did you
know,
ask Inda?
Madonna, Lady
Because
Gaga,
I'm like,
those kind
but
of
my
folks.
references are like 20 years old.
Well, you have to laugh because, of course, at the end of the day, music and literature and movies belongs to
Yeah.
all of us.
It does.
Yeah.
I do know there's some fun stereotypes. Like I was told once that gay women drive Toyota 4Runners. This is back in the day. And there are some stereotypes, or like the Subarus, like the Lesbaru. I have heard,
Lesbaru.
I've heard some of these stereotypes.
Wish I had one.
Yeah.
Better
Right?
than my car.
Those are reliable.
They last the test of time.
Thank you.
As do lesbian relationships. Unlike gay relationships.
So, but then you got the U-Haul lesbians, and that breaks up. So I don't think that's necessarily a situation.
Well, I didn't mean to throw that question back at you, but
Go ahead.
on the Pride Parade short list that we were blaring, from that speaker, we had Lady Gaga up there, Born This Way, but we also had George Michael.
Did you have any Inda?
Freedom.
Which one?
Did you have any Inda?
And we had Inda.
We better have Inda next
We had-
year.
That's why we
Daniela
need
Reza.
Next year.
we need a dance
You
song.
need
and,
free. Well, free, and you're gonna
Yeah.
remix it next
Yes.
year. By next time,
I would love that.
Mike's gonna
Yeah.
remix some Inda to the dance.
So here's the thing. It
There's
was
the
very
objective
difficult to
Yes, sir.
find songs that didn't have one negative word in it. Like for instance, all of Freddie Mercury Queen songs, it comes from some sort of place of pain and struggle,
Yeah.
which is valid, but we didn't want to lead the parade with that.
Oh my
You know
God,
what I mean?
Tom, yeah.
Like it had to be like all positive all the time as we were
I'm
marching.
going to send you.
Okay, but
I'm
here's
send
I'm
you a
going to jump in on
playlist.
that.
Yes,
I'm going to
please.
jump
Yeah.
in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an opinion. I could be talked out of it, but so I just would throw it out there. I feel like the best work comes out of a place of pain and suffering.
Does.
Just like you're talking about the parade, while
Yes.
that's a positive thing, there's a catalyzing. There's this moment that's like, this is why we do the parade,
Yes.
and ultimately I think it's a celebration.
Yes.
But I think these things are born out of a let's call it an inciting incident, and I think the rest is resilience. So you
Yes,
go back to
resilience
music
is a
and
great
movies and books. I really think it is born out of
Yeah,
pain.
there's definitely a place for that. Just like our idea was like while we're marching, while we're trying to fire up the crowd,
I get you.
we want to be super, super positive.
So like what?
And then,
So like, what'd you choose?
well, like Freedom, George Michael.
Oh, Freedom.
Like
Yeah.
we're a family.
I don't
I
belong
want
to
to dance
you.
with somebody. Like just like
Okay,
really high
okay.
energy. It was mostly women.
Okay.
That were the most positive all the time.
Okay.
were
Go figure.
Women.
Yeah.
But we had a longer Pride Parade list for like the park. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And such. But while we're marching, we wanted to be all fired up.
Like Happy. I was in a parade one time.
Happy music.
Yeah.
Well,
Happy dance music.
by is it Pharrell in Southampton, and we just kept playing because I'm happy.
Yeah.
Happy,
Yeah.
happy,
Yeah.
and it worked because people are out there in
Yes,
those
it totally
parades, and
works,
they've come
yeah.
out for whatever reason. Could be any kind of reason. When they get out there, and people match up with the other people. It is happy.
Yeah.
It's like it's this
Yeah.
moment. So I get it.
Oh, Talk. It's my life. Love that one.
Geez,
my
now
life.
we know you have your
Yeah, I told
music
you I
goes
was dating
back a few
myself,
decades.
but Talk.
And don't forget about Sylvester. Hello.
Yeah, I get it. Happy. So
make
we
me feel
right. We need and Donna Summers maybe like.
Donna Summer was on there somewhere, but it might have been on the extended list. But
Or
it
we
was-
are a family. That'd be a good marching.
Yeah, we
can't
had
go
that
wrong
on there.
with
that.
We are
Okay,
family, the
okay.
Sister Sledge.
Sister Sledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
What are some of your, going back actually, where did it all start and what were some of your inspirations, musical inspirations? How far back do you go as a musician? Were you
Well,
born
okay,
this way?
so you find out whatever music you are in your decade, and then you go backwards. I feel like so. A lot of my youth is in the late 70s, 80s, and I think music. We could disagree about this, but for me and my preferences, it was a bummer to have so much synthesizer.
Yeah.
I think good things for me, like I love the Eurythmics. I mean, who does not love Annie Lennox?
Annie Lennox.
And they were a
love
great
her.
fusion of good songs, excellent songs, and modern technology. I think about Paul Simon, Graceland came out in there.
Yep.
I'm thinking about Crowded House, obviously a lot of the Police, but so much was synthesizer.
Yeah.
And I know from your perspective, I'm guessing as a DJ and someone who loves dance, you love that. And for me, it was like, oh, I just want the song. I'm so addicted to what they had to say.
I
so
can
I
totally
went back.
appreciate like the acoustic or rock.
But
aesthetic.
that wasn't going on that so much in the 80s. It was more
Yeah.
dance. So I had to go backwards.
Okay.
And so
How
for
far
example,
back did you go?
well, so for example, we're talking about Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah,
Do you know
70s.
they're like one of the last people rumors to win the Grammy? I think they won their Grammy with like John Williams and Star Wars. They were against him. That's some of the last years before we start going into like the Bee Gees and Staying Alive, and everything just took off in a more dance-like.
A new wave was very
Yeah.
synthesized. Yeah.
So Rumors was really one of the last up there with John Williams soundtrack for Star Wars. Was like the last situation to go in before we go into a little different world.
Well, let's have
Okay.
a program about music sometime.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much
Well,
to talk about.
I mean, look, we
Just
are
music.
music is
Yeah.
us. We
Yeah.
all have a playlist, and I was thinking about that when you were talking about the speaker on the parade
Yes.
and the bands, and
Yeah.
we will coordinate. We'll do better to coordinate so that we can have some bit of music at that.
Yeah,
That
so
would be
for
lovely. I meant marching bands, though.
I know that,
Like,
but I'm thinking down at
yeah.
the park. There was with DJ Karen
Yes.
Ward. You know, she did a great job to keep the tune spinning.
Yeah.
But I feel like in that space, it could also be maybe something live that was a
Would be
stage or
wonderful.
something.
Yeah,
It'd be
so
absolutely
folks,
wonderful.
next year, look forward to seeing Inda Eaton and the band
that's
marching,
right.
either marching down or on the flatbed.
Yeah,
We're going to go
very
across
nice.
the room now. We have to wrap up the show, but I want to reiterate the most important things that you talked about, the upcoming
Thank you.
fundraiser. Go ahead, Tom.
Sure. Hamptons Pride Sunday at Longhouse, June 25th. And then August 27th, the last Sunday, the Sunday before Labor Day, we have the tea dance right on the footprint of the swamp. So that's our signature fundraiser, and please be our guest. Come
going,
there
yeah,
and
sure.
dance where we used to dance. I'll bring hula hoops, Michael.
And Inda, last thoughts, upcoming performances, what do you want folks to know?
We have shows this summer at IndaEaton.com. There's some dates. Be looking for a one-woman show, more shows with Nancy Atlas, a new record, and let's look for a collaboration because I think DJ Mike is going to do some mixes of Inda music to make it dance. Whoop whoop, and I think let's lay it down. I think though next year some of your mixes need to be in the parade.
In the parade, in
Would
the
love
short
that.
list.
You heard it here first, folks. Next year, Inda Eaton is going to
love
have
that.
a
Thank you.
pride song ready to go out the door.
That you mixed. It's
Yeah.
going to be whoop. Who
I'm
let the
gonna make
dogs
it.
out?
Talk
Yeah.
about grassroots.
There
And
we
that
go.
being said, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our second edition of Out in the Hamptons. We'll see you next week, and you all take care. Bye.
That's wonderful.
He's not your dad or an honest man, but a change is due. One day you will understand. Let it rain.